Welcome to today's video. This is Leah at buttercreamparties.com, where I teach you how to decorate sugar cookies with buttercream frosting. Lately, I've been getting into exploring the world of natural dyes, and I found this TruColor line. So I wanted to go ahead and test it out. So I'm going to share my review with you guys, and it's some tips that I have learned along the way. So I've got red, orange, sunset yellow, Buttercream, blue, the purple I believe is called Regal Purple, and then the brown. And this was a set that I bought on Etsy from a seller for TruColor. I'll go ahead and I'll put their information in the box below, but I am going to mix up all of these colors. The color set came with that little spoon to scoop out some of the powder, and so I'm just going to do what the bottle says. You can see here, this is what the red looks like on the inside. It is a really pretty shade of red. It looks promising. So the bottle says to do 1 part powder to 2 parts water. And with red, I know that you typically need a lot of dye. And so I'm going to do 2 scoops right away. And then I'm going to use a syringe to add in water. So here's the directions. This is on the same thing as on all of the colors. So just 2 parts water to 1 part powder. I did read when I was kind of researching this brand that for Buttercream, it's nice to get a kind of gel consistency, so probably a little bit less water. And I tried doing that when I was playing around with this last week, and I noticed that I couldn't get all of the powder dissolved into the water when it was at a more gel consistency. And when I went to go mix it in with the buttercream, I could just see flecks of undissolved powder. And so I really think that you do need to follow the instructions with getting enough water so that that powder fully dissolves. And then I suppose you could slowly add more powder. But yeah, definitely want to make sure that it is completely dissolved in when you use this. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to mix up all of these colors. I love this little painting palette set that it's actually my kids for their little paints, but I'm going to borrow it because it worked perfectly for this. You can see here that the purple, I was having a hard time getting all of that purple dissolved into the water. It kind of gummed up really quickly. So this one you're definitely going to want to use enough water for that purple. I accidentally made a mess with the brown, so some of it got into the orange, and so I'm going to scoop that out because I don't want to mess up our results. For all of these, I'm going to use a toothpick to just really make sure that it's all dissolved instead of the knife in case it missed some spots there. So I'm going to do a toothpick first and then mix it in with the knife, and I'm going to do that for all the colors. So here we are with the red. You can see that I really don't have that much buttercream frosting in there. This is a crusting buttercream for cookie decorating, and so it does have more powdered sugar in it. It's like a 4-to-1 ratio. So here we are with 2 of the scoops of red. It's very much a pink right now, so I'm going to let it sit, but we'll probably need to add some more red. This one is the orange. This one actually looks really close. I think that's a really pretty color. I don't know that I would say that it was orange, but maybe if we added a bit more after it sits, or maybe if it sits out, it gets a little bit more orange instead of like a golden yellow. All right, now this one is the yellow. I think that they called it sunset yellow. Yeah, sunset yellow. So we'll let that sit out for a bit, see if it gets any darker. We're going to move on to the beta green. Now that one, it needed a little bit more water because there was still some powder flecks in there. Some of them have this kind of like a metallic look in it when you're mixing it. It doesn't look like that in the buttercream, but the actual powder does. Okay, so here's that green. It's pretty light, but again, we'll let it sit out, and it is a green color. And now we're gonna move on to the blue, and the blue, I'm telling you guys, is the weirdest one, because I played around with the blue when I opened these colors last week, and as you can see, when you're mixing it up, the blue is purple, and the blue uses a grape extract, I believe. I'm used to natural dyes using, I think it's spirulina for blue, or like a butterfly pea, something like that. And yeah, this one uses grape, and it very much looks purple. So I did hear when I was doing some researching and like looking in some like baking forums, I think I was on Reddit, that people can alter the pH of these colors. And by adding the tiniest bit of baking soda, you can get this TruColor blue shade from purple to blue. So I'm going to show you that a little bit later on in the video, but I do want to show you what this color looks like just without doing anything. So yeah, a lot closer to the purple. But we'll let it sit out, see what color it turns into. Now we're going to move on to the actual purple. And this one is one of my favorite colors from this set. I love this purple. I even think I like it more than my Wilton purple, Wilton violet. I love this shade of purple that this turns out to be. So yeah, pretty close to the lid. It's just a little bit lighter, but we'll let it sit out for a bit, see what color it turns into. And then this last one here is brown. Now, typically for a dye-free brown, you could just use cocoa powder. You could also do a dye-free black with black cocoa powder. But sometimes we want to stick with the vanilla flavor, and so we'll want to use a brown dye. So I can tell that this brown is going to need a lot more dye to get to a dark brown shade, but this is a pretty light brown. It almost looks maybe like an ivory, but yeah, it needs a lot more dye. Okay, so here are all of the colors. This is that first run through, so I think the red got a little bit darker, but it's still definitely more of a pink. The orange, now that it's sitting next to the yellow, does look more orange. And then the yellow looks great. The green is kind of like almost like a sage green, but it is green. Again, that blue is pretty purple. The purple I love, and then the brown is very light. So this is how they had been sitting out for, the brown had probably been sitting out now for probably 5 minutes, and then the other colors longer as I've been working through them. So that red had plenty of time to develop, at least to see, you know, an idea of where it might end up as it dries. I would say that that shade would dry like a darker pink, but definitely not red. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add more color all the way through or to each of them, and I'm going to add a little bit of baking soda. You can see how tiny of an amount I'm going to add. I think it's like a half of a scoop into the blue one, and we're going to see what that looks like. And now I also have heard, since doing this video, for the red, you can add a little bit of lemon juice, so something acidic, and it'll make the red a bit brighter of a red, because you can see here that this red is going to, I mean, I think it would pass as red, but it's not like a bright, like Santa Christmas red. I think it would look great for Valentine's Day cookies, this color, but of course that can lean more pink. But I've heard that you can add just a tiny bit of lemon juice, and it'll bring it into a brighter, more of an orangey red, but not like orange. I don't know, I think you guys get what I'm saying, but I'm gonna try that next time. So I'm gonna go through and add more color to each one of these and see how dark we can get. Okay, so here we are at that blue, and I can already tell just by adding it onto the side there that that looks more blue than the last one. It looked a lot more purple. I'm just gonna scoop all of that in there, and this looks much more blue than the last one. I don't think that it really looks purple at all, so that was really good. But I have some more thoughts on the blue in the end of the video that I will share with you. So yeah, a lot more blue. Again, I just love that purple. It looks so close to the color on the cap too here, and it hasn't even dried yet. So you'll know that it'll dry a little bit darker too. All right, I'm doing the brown, and the brown is still not going to be dark enough with this addition. It's going to need a lot more. Like I said, you can always use cocoa powder, but sometimes you don't want to have you know, if you're decorating sugar cookies and part of your cookie has this chocolate flavoring, like a little line on it or a little piece of it, sometimes it can throw off the flavor a bit. Okay, so here they are. They've sat out for a while. This is with doing it a second time. I think that orange is looking a lot better. The yellow is beautiful. I really like that. Green, it's definitely green. It's more of a sage green. Maybe adding some more yellow to it would make it more of a brighter green, like a Kelly green. blue is looking really good, purple's looking really good, and the brown did improve, but definitely not anywhere near the cap. So I would add more to the brown and more to the red, and then maybe add some yellow to the green. But overall, it's really impressive. This is the best color line that I have tried as a whole for buttercream frosting, which again, you're combating that butter. It can be really hard to color it. Normally I use gel food dye. So I went ahead and I decorated with some just so you could see how they all looked. I would say that that would definitely pass as a rainbow. But what I want to say about this blue is that after these cookies dried, the blue turned a lot more gray. And you can kind of see that here, how it's kind of more of a grayish blue. When it dried, it looked a lot more gray than blue. So here's a photo right here, how you can see that that really is gray. I would not call that blue. I don't know, I'm just not that happy with the blue. I would say that I could love the red if I added a little bit more, and I want to try that lemon, but all the other colors I really like, and I would probably add a little bit more of, I would add a little bit of the yellow powder into the green to brighten it up and see what that did. But overall, I am very impressed. I'm going to have a blog post linked below where you can see these pictures and come back to it and see my tips and all of that. But yeah, so let me know in the comments below what more you would like to see from me. I'm really excited learning about dye-free or artificial dye-free brands. If you have any recommendations for me, I'd love to try them out. But thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, have a good one. Thanks, guys.